Well, happy New Year. It's the BackChat basketball show, and we're back. You know, other podcasts are taking a break. BackChat is one of them. So, you know, they couldn't get their act together for episodes this early in the year, but we thought basketball doesn't stop, and we won't either here at the Basketball BackChat. BackChat basketball show. Sorry, I'm a bit all over the place. So you know what I had to do? A bit out of breath because we don't have a producer today. So if you're watching this on YouTube, apologies. You're just going to watch the same shot. We don't have a producer today, so I ran over to the desk, pushed the intro song button, ran back.
How unfit are you?
Oh, mega. No, I did move house today.
Yeah, no,
that's my
good.
excuse. Greg Hires here.
You're a bit frazzled. I was like wondering. I was like, what, are we on? Are we on here right now? But no, well done, mate. Well done to get out here. You're exactly right. We don't take breaks here.
No, we did take one.
4th of January.
Christmas.
Yeah, but you have to.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I think the Wednesday that we missed was Boxing Day or something. I wasn't going to drag you in here for that. BackChat_basketball on Instagram is where you can get in touch with us, or hello@backchatpodcast.com.au. We've got about 2 weeks of basketball to cover, Greg. Ben's not here, and I'm going to be completely honest why Ben's not here. I sort of just forgot to message him because I know he's moving to Melbourne. So do you know Ben? He's going to be going soon. And I thought, I think he's sort of mid-move. I didn't want to interrupt that and disturb him. So I didn't message him, and then I just saw a message from him from a little while ago. It was like, hey, are we recording this Wednesday? And I just never responded.
Oh, you're that guy.
Bad friend.
Yeah.
So apologies, Ben, if you're listening to this now.
Oh, he'll definitely be listening. He's our most loyal listener.
One of our listener.
So good.
A couple of weeks of basketball to get through. A lot of crazy NBA stats. So let's start at some NBA stuff. So I'm just going to bring up this thing that I saw. So this is 15 hours ago, so it's a little outdated. There's another game today with some more crazy stats. So in the last few days or so, Donovan Mitchell scored 71 points, Clay 54, DeRozan 44, LeBron 43, Embiid 42. Luka's done more. I'm going to get into Luka shortly as well. Giannis today 55, 10.
Hasn't he had 3 straight games of over 40 or 50 or
crazy?
Something? Yeah.
They're just, these superstars are putting up big numbers. Yeah. What was your career high in points?
20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Against Brisbane, 5 3-pointers, long throws. Yeah.
Why were they all in the corner? Are you a corner 3 guy?
That's the offense. One. Yeah, no. It wasn't easy. That's just what we ran, a lot of horn sets.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Seems like Bryce always calling horns.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Trev loved horns.
Yeah. And that's all it was.
But you weren't like a prolific 3-point shooter. So why on that day were you just draining them?
Brisbane, like Lamarnus is like there was a few teams. Joey Wright was notorious for it, and Lamarnus was like we'll dare you to shoot. Like would rather send 2 players to Bryce and let you like we'll
Greg High beat us
because my prolific is I guess a good word, but I think I averaged 35% throughout my career as a 3-point
so you still
shooter.
have to be take notice of you.
Yeah.
No,
absolutely. But like I think, it was like actually amazing.
I just watched the highlights before.
Yeah, it was. Why that come up?
I
want to know what my.
I was trying to see what your career high was, and I thought that must be it.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I scored 0 the next game.
That's right, averages, law of averages.
But I remember like one year, it was like hilarious when you look at averages, and it's funny we're talking averages now because I was looking at who's leading the league in scoring, and I was like wondering, because Corey Webster I think has been averaging 20 points since he's come into the starting lineup, and he's averaging 12. And I was like, geez, that's like low. He's like in the top 20 in scoring.
Huh. Okay.
And so like you're talking these absurd numbers, but like for some guys that are averaging like 14 or 15, I'm like, that's poo-town. Like compared, but then they're actually like top 10 in like Australia, NBL, like 40 minutes and just maybe like just the way we play. I'm not sure.
It's a bit more defensive, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Bryce is 23 points. Like
and he's still second?
Yeah, he leads now.
He leads now, okay.
But yeah, so it's interesting. So, but I remember back maybe my second year with Trev or third year, like I had this period where I was hitting 3 threes, like I was shooting like 65% from the 3, and my average was like 3.2 or 4.2, and for like 6 games in a row, I was averaging like 9.8 or like 10.4, something like that.
Yeah.
There was like literally...
Something like that. He knows exactly.
No, there was like a feature article.
It
was like, what has like gone on.
What's
and
happened to
like,
Greg?
Yeah, Greg's now, and it was like if Greg has this, like they're going to win a championship. Like it's
Yeah.
But I was
1-2 punch of
massive,
Bryce and Greg.
Yeah, oh, correct. It was just like I was such a massive confidence guy. So like if my first one went down, I'm like, I'm rolling here.
Yeah.
And so when that, like I think Brisbane, it was sort of helped. I hit like 2 in a row, 3 in a row, and I was like, I've never felt like this ever. And then by the time 4th and 5th came, we're up by like 30. So it's like, if you miss it, who cares?
Yeah,
like...
Yeah, you got complete freedom.
Yeah, and to the point where I remember like my last one, I think Dexter Koenig Drew was like past it, and I was like, they better be throwing me this ball. Like, I am feeling it.
Yeah,
like
bit of a heat check.
I was like, this is what it feels like for Bryce every day.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing.
I remember playing in at Warwick Leisure Centre one time, Monday night, probably B or C grade, maybe D. I was a bit late to the game, and so they'd already started. And then I think I got there with about 4 minutes into the game. Someone wanted a sub because we're all unfit and stuff. I check in, find out who I'm guarding, and roll in.
Respect that you play man.
Oh, I did because
okay.
we play like a 2-3 zone, but there's always that one guy that you want to beat.
Of course.
I remember they passed the ball to me at the top of the 3, and I hadn't. Like you rock up 2 minutes before the game, you get a few shots up.
Yep.
That was the first time I shot a basketball since the last Monday game. Put it up and just wet.
Went in.
Just where the net flicks up and splashes back down. Best feeling. Next time down the floor, I brought the ball up and I drove to the rim, and our big was right next to me, and I wrapped it around his man and fed it to him, and he got a layup. And I did one of those things where you pass it and he's going to lay it in, so you start running back already. Course. And I was like, this.
So best 2 possessions of your life.
Yeah, and then I think I probably didn't score for the rest of the game. But I felt amazing for about 90 seconds.
What it is to be Michael
good
Jordan.
At basketball. Yeah.
The NBA though, and this is so the numbers. I don't know if it was Isaiah Thomas or like a former old head, like legend, sort of spoke about it. It was sort of went out. Isaiah Thomas to Kevin Durant.
Right.
He was like, I'm not impressed by his numbers, and obviously Kevin Durant, being Kevin Durant, sort of went back at him.
Yeah.
And I actually think, and like I'm all about times, there's a lot of validity in it. Like, the numbers are absurd. Like, Donovan Mitchell had 70, and
he tied the game with the craziest putback I've ever seen.
Did you find out that today they announced that it was illegal?
Oh, right, in the last 2-minute report.
Yeah. And like when they asked Billy Donovan, he was like, cool, like that doesn't help.
It doesn't give us the win.
We end up playing for extra 5 minutes and we lost. But like Kobe Bryant gets 81, and I remember that we were just like, crazy. He had that streak of like 5 games in a row where he's getting 60, and you're just like, man, what a scorer. Whereas like Donovan gets 70, and it was like, it was crazy. Like I was like, man, that's nuts.
It was double overtime?
But like it's just video game like numbers. Like Giannis, today 50, 20, and like.
Yes.
I don't know. It's obviously the way it's playing, but like it's obviously still incredible. Don't get me wrong, but I like look at it and go like Dennis Rodman would get, he'd average 18 or 19 rebounds, and he would get like this 27 game board, and you're like, man, are you kidding me? Like Dennis Rodman got 27 rebounds, like that's crazy. Now guys are getting like. Jokic, I think, had like 18 or 20 at halftime.
Yeah, it's insane. Plus, he scored 30
I just think it's like, the numbers are nuts. Like,
so
compared to
let's speaking of nuts numbers, we did touch on Luka.
Yes.
So his last.
Oh, how excited! Aren't you leaving soon to see Dirk?
Yeah, I'm going to see Dirk in about 4 days. Yeah, flying over to Melbourne.
Are you meeting him?
What's going on? I mean, I've I'll do everything I can to say hi. But he's doing a speaking event, and it's just at a bar, like it's at a big. It's
not a Crown or something.
No. It's like at a big venue, and
he's got a camp, basketball camp.
Yeah, he's got a basketball camp the day before. I don't know what age range of people are going to be at the camp.
Parents and coaches can go. It's $100.
Yeah, so
because my nephew literally wanted to get flown over to Melbourne to do it.
Right.
And was like, if you want to go and just watch, it's $100.
So yeah, I couldn't participate in it. It's for kids.
No, yeah, you definitely can.
Okay. I
Unless
was
you
thinking about
shave.
it. Could I try and get in on it?
Maybe. I reckon like you could. Like,
Yeah. And at the end of those camps, they play like one-on-one with the kids, and
Yeah.
they just swap them.
yeah.
I'd
absolutely.
happily do that just to get
Oh,
swapped.
absolutely.
Although Dirk, I don't know if you saw his walk at the
the
they did
statue.
no, this is like a year and a half ago after he retired. I think he did some walk. The jersey retirement.
Yes, yeah.
He walked to like the middle of the court, and he was in all sorts.
Like he was.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be highly participating in the camp.
Yeah.
But Luca,
Yes. Sorry.
which I'm very excited about Luca as well. So the Mavs are on a 7-game winning streak. The 7-game winning streak started with Luca putting in 25 points. Nothing to sneeze at, but he had 10 assists, 9 rebounds, so almost a triple-double.
Yes.
But, that's to be expected now from him. Next game, 50 points, 10 assists. Huge. 30 points, 9 assists. And this is the big one. 60 points. I think he got 61. But this says 60 on it. I'm pretty sure he got 61 points. 21 rebounds, 10 assists.
Yeah, that was...
That's insane. And then he's scored 35, he scored 51, and he scored 39. All while getting pretty much double-digit assists the entire time.
Yeah, it's true.
He's just going crazy. And I saw a funny tweet where it said, like, Luca's discovering the way to win an MVP is to beat down bad teams and put up crazy numbers.
Yeah.
And, like, they haven't beaten anyone really that good. So they've beaten... I mean, they beat the Knicks, who... They were depleted.
2018, yep. Oh, well,
they had no Brunson. They had they had no they beat the Lakers, but then they've beaten Houston, San Antonio, and Houston again, and Houston again. So, like,
still though,
but
like,
still you
when
have
you're
to
the main guy. Like, they're absolutely like crap teams, but he's the head of the scouting report.
Yeah.
Like,
They're sending
not going
doubles
like,
to him and stuff.
Oh, let's double team Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's still. Like, would he get that? I'm not sure. Like, again, like the schemes, Milwaukee or Boston, like they still got to get it done. I mean, Boston lost to OKC today. Like,
I think they scored 150. They got 150 points scored on them. First time since 1975 or something crazy. Anything other NBA stuff that you've been? I've been watching a little bit, mostly Mavs games.
I watched a lot. I've been loving. Well, I said at the start of the year, Brooklyn Nets were going to be in the NBA Finals.
They're starting to get better.
And not starting to get better. They're a half a game out of leading the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
So I'm all about that.
Kevin Durant's hair needs to be addressed.
Yes,
I keep seeing screenshots, and I'm like, surely that's a fake screenshot.
What is?
But it's not. He's I don't know.
He's balding.
He's balding, but because of like his hair, because of the type of hair he has, it's like because it's like fuzzy hair.
Yeah.
It's just disintegrating on his head.
No,
like
I know.
it's just and it's odd. It's an odd choice.
I look at the standings all the time and just intrigued. Like even Phoenix started slow, winning. Now they're 8th, and like teams like that. But I can't I love that. Sacramento are still thereabouts. Like I feel like
De'Aaron Fox scored big as well.
Did you see the ending of that game?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Laurie
Markkinen was 0.2 of a second away from
nuts.
the most.
I just like it that we're at a stage now where in eras of NBA, like you've obviously had these critical pieces where there was superstars and then it was the big 3 era.
Yeah.
And
building a super team.
Right. And, LeBron obviously went like sort of Ray Allen, Garnett's one, but it was sort of like in that way, it was like done by a trade, not by signing free agents and whatever. Yeah. And to then Brooklyn mortgaging their home to try and do something similar, again. But across the league now, there's like bona fide superstars in every single team where, it's exciting.
Even the bad teams have got like a guy who in like 3 years.
Charlotte and Detroit are horrible.
Yeah.
That's like of all of the teams, I'm like, there's been Charlotte's been on like last few days, and I'm like, God, they stink. And I was excited like last year, and then I was like, well, I can't go for them because Miles Bridges is a horrible human. So like, there goes my support for that team. But bar Houston, all that, and Spurs are pretty bad. But OKC beating Boston and but then you look at it and you go like New Orleans sick. Like you've got underdog teams that they've got guys that you can actually support. Like when you're not a supporting team, supporting players, it's cool.
Yeah, it's exciting. And then pity for the Pelicans. Apparently Zion will be out for the next
3 weeks. Hamstring strain.
3 to 4 weeks.
He's just too explosive. This is going to be his issue his whole life. Like,
that body can't withstand 18 seasons.
No. It's not like
it's going to be a short time, but a good time for Zion. I think. Hopefully not.
That's why I think LeBron, like, credit to him is how 38 years
He's
old, how explosive. When he had his 38th birthday, he went off for 44 points or something.
Yeah. And he never gets injured.
I was like, I'm going to go to KFC, grab myself a Zinger box.
Yeah.
Wicked wings.
Yeah, Zinger bacon cheese combo for me, thanks. Yeah.
And he's still like dominating it, like a pretty.
It's insane. Yeah. All right, so some big news out of
news.
The
Don't
NBL.
just say big.
Yeah, massive news. The Wildcats sort of have been a lot of fans and pundits, I guess we'll call them, have been requesting that they make a move because their current team's not a championship caliber. You yourself said that they need to make some sort of move.
And I said on our last show that they would make a move.
Yes, and they have, but probably not the move that anyone was expecting. Ty Webster, brother of current Perth Wildcat Corey Webster, has joined from... Was he released from the Breakers?
It was that 2 years when the past couple of years when COVID,
That's right.
Obviously wasn't, quite public that didn't endorse vaccinations.
Yes.
Well, that was required to play in the NBL, then chose to go to Europe because of no vaccinations, then came back here, obviously, and then he's been bought out by the Wildcats.
Yes.
Similar,
he's a guard that's a scoring guard, and he can score. He's a good scorer.
Can rebound for his size as well. Like, he's a triple-double sort of guy. But again, like a guy that needs the ball in his hands. And he's not.
So, which is interesting when you have the best guy in the league with the ball in his hands, and Corey's been playing really well. So they're not lacking so much in the scoring department, but they're often getting beaten on the boards, and their sort of defense has been questioned a lot as well. So it's an interesting addition. So what's your thoughts on this? Because it doesn't address the things that it seems like they need.
No. It's peculiar. Like, there's no doubt he's a talent.
And Corey Shervill gets dropped in the process.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that. Like, for me, when you're going to make a change, I thought you obviously to improve. Now, at times, sometimes, I remembered prior to Bryce being signed, he left that 1 year, got signed, and then he was potentially leaving, and then we had Webster or I can't remember what it was, like Jaron John, like Casey or whatever it was, what it was going to be, and we're like, oh, who do you what happens? Our rosters backlogged, and you just go, who cares? Get your best player. I remember 1 year, Nate Jaiwai, same deal, and Shawnee Redditch had to come down, and he played the 3-man. I was playing the 2-man. You just made it work. Best players. I don't think that's the case though here. As I said on our previous show, I think the Wildcats have been rolling, bar the loss to Brisbane.
Yeah.
But I actually don't think, yes, it's a horrible loss, but of all things, missed free throws. If they lost by 1 point and they played a hell of a game, or they got pantsed and they just got embarrassed. Of all things, free throws, they're leading the league in free throw percentage. It's a minuscule thing. I know fans were outraged. It's of all things, I'd be sick. We know we're going to be better at free throws. They're professionals. So I don't think it addresses the glaring issue of rebounds and defense, which are highlighted come playoffs time. I don't think people can comprehend how much the game changes from regular season to playoffs. It becomes more physical. Defense becomes paramount. And getting exposed on the glass can really hurt you.
Yeah.
There's no doubt he's a talent, but again, I go, where's the minutes coming from? Bryce and Corey have done very well. That's part of the catalyst of them going, they can go a 3-guard rotation, but at the same time, why would you need that? Now, don't get me wrong, that gives them a break. They're starting this Ty come back in and gives them another potent piece. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. But I go, geez, there's a lot of talent, first off, but a lot of money as well on the bench now. Mitch Norton's going to have to get less minutes. That's just going to show. Todd Blanchfield's going to get less minutes. The other issue that I think is Luke Travers has been playing actually a lot better.
More confident.
Absolutely. Now bringing Ty, naturally they're going to take the ball out of his hands. So there's another guy that's sort of that regard. So
do you think maybe they are thinking Because Bryce plays a lot of minutes and he runs probably more than any. Are they like, do we need to just take 2 or 3 minutes off of him a game, take 2 or 3 off Corey?
It's still 2-3 minutes. Like, that's not going to give what Ty is there for a period of time. Like, not every team is able to go that deep. Like, absolutely. But for me, in that essence is going, one, they didn't believe in the roster. Like, Ty obviously spoke about this in an article a month ago. The discussion started. A month ago, they were on this massive slide and it had a losing streak. So they're like, we don't have a belief in this group, which I always believed. And again, they're playing completely different. Momentum's an incredible thing, and they're playing quite well now from what they were. In saying that, though, you had to give that time for John Rillie to implement his system or get a little bit of belief. And I've said this all the time. This league of all years is, like, in terms of, there's an abundance of talent, but there's no team, bar Sydney, that have gone, like, we're better than all the rest. Like, every other year, 2-3 teams, you know, the eras of New Zealand and Perth, like, they're the top 2 teams. Like, even when I went, like, maybe there's 3 or 4. Like,
well, the top 4 are separated by 1 win.
Correct. And right now, like...
and Wildcats, I mean, they've got... they're separated by 3 wins.
You look at the games that I always look at the standings from the losses. You know what I mean? So, like, they, like, the way Southeast Melbourne, like, they were clear. Now, if there are injuries, they're potentially going to get out, like, that way. And that's, so for me, I like look at that, and you're basically mortgaging the success of this year for, I guess, now the success of what the Wildcats can be for a number of years. Why I say that is you bring in Ty Webster. If they don't win this championship, or if they got bundled out and they don't do well, you've basically pissed off a lot of players. Because you've basically said, I don't believe in Mitch Norton and I don't believe in Todd Blanchfield by bringing in this guy, and we're getting rid of talent in Corey Shervill. Because I actually think he's talent. I don't know. I'm not there at training to see what's he doing. But from what I saw 2-3 years ago, where he was a starter in the grand final series, obviously because of injuries, but showed that he's super talented. Like, you know, speaking to staff members, coaching staff that are on other teams, they believe he's good. Like, he'll find another job somewhere else. You know, Jesse's still playing great basketball, but you got to start thinking, like, is he going to go max at like 1 or 2 years? Like, Corey, I think, is maybe 23, 24, max 25. I don't know. Like, he's a future, like, I do believe he's a Jesse Wagstaff, like, guy. Shooter. Corey Shervill. Pick and pop guy, can play defense, can rebound, has confidence, a little bit of arrogance in a good way in terms of his belief. So, it's an interesting thing. And I look at it and go, look, to be honest, it's pressure on Danny Mills, because if this doesn't pay off, I think it's a move that dictates where you're at as a GM. Like, I'd be going... You've made some decisions, like in terms of roster choice and what that looks like. If this doesn't get you a championship or grand final, well, for 2 years you haven't really been up there. So I think that whether that's a belief within the organisation, I think that's the pressure would be on him.
Do you think there's still another change coming?
No, not. That's it. The last change, I think, had to have been done by Jan 14th, I think, from the cut-off dates in terms of games left.
So they could play the games,
I think they obviously were still waiting on Bryce's naturalisation and hoping that was the case. And then this is the perfect, like, okay, we can bring in a naturalised talent and we can do that. But again, to bring someone in and how close the league is, like, I mean, good. They could go 2-0 this weekend and Ty doesn't play, and they're up there. Like, they play New Zealand, Sydney. What a great test, right? Like, they get those 2, and if they do win both, you're like, geez, we're good, and we bring in another guy. But you'd hate to go 0-2 because it helps them, the top 6. Like, I don't believe in this whole play-in system. Like,
especially when there's 9 teams.
Well, correct. 10, like, you're literally giving yourself like a chance. And I say this, like, the Wildcats will always be championship contender now that there's 6, because you have Bryce Cotton.
Yes, he can win.
He single-handedly can win you a game, like a one-off playing game. He single-handedly can get you that game. Like, he's a freak of a talent. Like that. So, like, every time you have Bryce on your team, bar any roster that you ever have, you're like, we're a chance here.
Yeah, he could drop 35 and win you a game
and change it. So. Yeah, no, like it's a bit weird in that setting.
So, any other NBL updates from you? I mean, Adelaide.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously, I'll briefly. I think Adelaide's massive choke job
Yep.
against.
I'm not going to read that other bit that you wrote.
But against Cairns. And I think it shows like this is. You look at moments in seasons that can really define a year. So obviously they're 7th, I think. No, 6th currently.
They are 6th. Yep.
6th. So a team that may be trying to get top 4 or thereabouts and more. Like you play a team that is missing Keanu Pinder, who is an MVP contender. Up by 16 points on the road. Like it doesn't come much more on a silver platter in that regard to absolutely bona fide screw it up. It's the same way that Melbourne could miss out in a position by 1 loss because they choked against Perth. And it's similar with Adelaide. Like there's one of those moments you go like, geez, and that it sort of defines the season in more way. You don't look at that and go, geez, that was a missed opportunity. You go, we're losing those games. Like we're not a championship contender team if we're not putting those games away. So massive. And I think on the counter side, and I've been not critical, but I'm still not really a believer in Cairns because I think they're just the way they play is too hit and miss for playoff basketball. But what an incredible effort. You know, I didn't know much about Shannon Scott, mate. Such a great weekend by him, leading them, getting 2 massive wins. Obviously, they expected to beat Illawarra, but on the back end of a doubleheader, but obviously a massive one without Keanu. So huge in regards.
Kevin Lish made his coaching debut.
I know, obviously.
Big Perth guy. I remember I saw him one time at Bunnings.
Very handsome guy.
Yeah, handsome guy. Super friendly. Saw him at Bunnings.
The friendliest guy.
And I saw him just leaving with a plunger. That was it. And I thought, I wonder what's going on at the Lish household. He's literally gone, I need to go Bunnings.
Why would he, of all things, I'm getting, buying a pot plant. You don't just buy a plunger.
Well, obviously,
he's
he had
a really
a
simple
plumbing emergency.
Yeah,
and where do I
he's
go
a really
plunger?
simple human. He's a very intellectual, but he gets drunk really quickly. He has 1 or 2 ciders, and he'd be off his face. Great guy though.
So he had his coaching debut because Chase Buford.
Yes.
I'm even still confused what happened because he was suspended for a game for...
Has a suspended sentence from last year.
Yes.
So last year, there was multiple incidents at the end of the year. So he wrote on the referee's door some profanities.
Right, with a permanent marker. Like a Banksy.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And so... No, you can't. It's you can't just whiteboard it out and say, "Oh no, I didn't do it." So, or it may have been in their room. So it wasn't it's pretty common. So he had a bit of an issue in that regard. And then obviously against Tasmania, I think it was in the finals where he just booted the absolute shit out of the LED screen.
Yes.
And so they put him on a suspended sentence on that regard. And then after the game,
so he's sort of on probation.
Correct. And then after the South East Melbourne. He obviously had lost. I think he booted the shit out of the door again, or the referee door or something.
Allegedly.
And, he's been proven guilty.
So he missed a game.
Yeah. So
it seems like he
didn't miss the Christmas game, conveniently.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he missed the game.
So and Kevin Lish, that's sort of cool seeing a former teammate.
It was actually pretty funny because it said Chase Buford was suspended, and so then I was sick because I hit up Fleur McIntyre, who's a great friend of mine. So I was like, "Are you coaching? How cool is this?" Tweeted it. Does this mean Fleur McIntyre's coaching? And then I was like, "Oh, I better read the Sydney's press release." Not defending their defensive coverage or the bench guys. They just said Kevin Lish, and I was like, "Oh, delete tweet." Fleur's.
Oh, you deleted the tweet?
Yeah, of course. I didn't want to be that guy. But
that's all right. MVP for the league. I saw there's been a few of those things going around. I'm not going to name the guy because I'm not going to.
I just think, Corey Williams, and I don't know why
he's got an agenda every time.
Yeah, but it's just stupid though. It doesn't make sense because I watched him on a show last night, Overtime, NBL show, where he literally was because of Ty Webster, they're going to make the 6. Wildcats going to make the 6,
right?
And he's all about Ty Webster, loves it, and no surprises.
Yep.
And then he's said MVP. Here's my top 3 MVPs, and he's gone. Xavier Cooks, yep, absolutely should be leading it. Mitch Creek, yep, cool, definitely agree, and Keanu Pinder. And I'm like, yeah, sweet, top 3, like that's fine. And I'm like, where is Bryce Cotton? And then like it's been put on the NBL's page, and then there's comments, and someone's like, where's Bryce Cotton? They're like, they're not even going to make the top 6. And so I'm like,
right.
Yesterday on a show, you literally said Wildcats are making the 6, and then now you're like, Bryce Cotton isn't going to make the 6. So it doesn't like.
Yep.
If you can cut it up, I appreciate that. But no,
no.
it's Xavier Cook's numbers aren't that special, but I can understand they're winning, and he plays 26 minutes a game.
He's probably the best player on the best
and
team.
without Xavier Cooks, that non-existent. Similar to what Bryce is, and similar to what Mitch Creek is. But like that's where I go. Like Mitch Creek 3rd, Bryce 2nd, and Xavier Cooks. Like Bryce has single-handedly kept them in the season. His numbers are up. He's like leading in scoring and in steals, and. And that team is literally one away to, if they beat New Zealand, they're second, like potentially tied for 2nd.
Yeah, if they go 2-0 in these next games, because they'll beat Kings and Breakers, they get put right up in the top 3 now.
And for
it's
me,
it must just be a narrative thing. You can't give Bryce MVP again. That's boring. That's what happens in the NBA.
He hasn't got it in like 2 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Andrew Bogut didn't get it. Like, and I can understand the narrative there. Jalen Adams last year.
Yep.
Like, and again, and like, they didn't make finals, so okay, get it. But like, seriously,
it's maybe time for Bryce to get MVP again. How do I say this? Homicide is an interesting character, and he, I think, just has a very clever way of making himself disliked and popular at the same time.
It's
because
it's smart by him.
Yeah,
he's attacking Australia's biggest fan base.
Yeah,
and on the other side is siding with everyone that hates the Wildcats.
Yeah.
So bad publicity or negative. Like if someone writes to him and says you're a bell end, it's still a comment. You know what I mean? Like it's not exciting to be obvious.
Yeah, of course.
Like if he goes, Bryce Cotton, like people just be like, the Wildcat fans wouldn't bite on it. But now everyone's outraged, and then other people like, Bryce, like there's no way, like we hate the Wildcats. So but what the thing that like, because I see that, like see through him, clear as day. But I find it comical that literally like yesterday he was like, they're making the 6, and then like now reading comments like, no, they're not going to make 6. I'm like, were you drunk?
I watched him one time in pre-game. He was interviewing a player from the other team, and I was in the media room getting some stuff ready, and they did the interview in there. And it was like a live cross sort of situation where it's just like, hey, I'm here with Greg Heyer. How are you feeling about the game today? And but it wasn't live, so it was pre-recorded.
Yeah.
And let's just say it was you. It wasn't you, but he said something like, well, it's the great Gary Heyer here, and I'm speaking him before the game. Oh, hang on. It's Greg. Sorry. Hey, I'm here with the great...
live? Or they had to restart?
No, it was like a pre-recorded thing to make it look live.
Yeah.
And he did it about 7 times before he got his first question out. And I
really?
just thought, like, mate, you're hopeless. Because he's trying to be so cool, and he was like having this like sort of shtick of the way that he was doing it. And it's like, mate, just ask the question. It was actually embarrassing.
Talking about pre-games before you last one, I remember getting interviewed one time before Townsville, and I gave my answer, and they told me that it wasn't good enough. Like they go, nah. Like they go.
Was it a Wildcats person doing it?
No. It was the NBL, but like we had this we had played Townsville on a Friday, and we were playing them on their home court on Sunday, and we had a little bit of like animosity.
Argy-bargy.
Yeah, and so they were like, they wanted to build it up, and so they were like, oh, and I just obviously was like, gave the perfect,
donuts.
This is we're just going to worry about the next play sort of thing. Credit to the boys, stuff, and I like gave my answers, and then they're like, oh no, we're gonna have to do that again. I was like, what? And they're like, that's like we need to build up the story, and I was like,
that's
okay,
great,
mate.
I've got a question that someone sent in through to us. Always appreciate questions. Hello at backchatpodcast.com.au or backchat_basketball on Instagram.
Best place to get in contact.
Yeah, we just read that. It says this, "Hi Dan, hope you had a great Christmas. I have a question
weird.
for the next basketball."
Ask about like, oh hey Ben and Greg and
Well,
Dan?
it was direct. It was a DM to me.
Oh, okay.
So this person, I didn't mention you can DM me, but this person has because we're friends on Facebook.
Sure.
I have a question for the next basketball pod. Do NBL teams track the distance run and average speed of the players during games? And if so, who would run the most in the NBL? I reckon it'd be Bryce by a big margin. So you know the AFL, they have like the Telstra.
They used to.
Yeah.
Because
do you guys get the little thing in the back of your jersey?
But I don't know how realistic it is because like
mine was always slow. It's
no, not that. Like no, mine was always like it was so. Why I say this, so the Players Association were involved in this years and years ago when they first started because they wanted to, like when Larry bought the NBL and it was like, what can we put, in terms of production, like what's better for broadcast and all this.
Right.
So they're trying to like look at everything different. Like I remembered when Homicide first came across the, to the league, like after the first year, he had this segment that came out and it was like, he literally tore shreds to one player and it was like, Homicide's burn for the week. And he literally
like
just...
a Caro's arrow.
Yeah, he literally went at like, and I remember one week it was like AJ Ogilvy because like he had just, MVP. And it was like the most like, and I remember as all players were like, are we kidding? And so like literally every single like player was like, you can get this off, and so yeah,
because that was an NBL thing.
It was literally put on the NBL's that's social media. Yeah, it wasn't even like his personal thing. It was like the NBL, so and we're like, how you market? You're basically saying someone's crap. Like, how's that? Actually
one of your
good?
own.
Yeah. So that was there, and then we had this broadcast, and it was like Catapult had come in, and they were like, you had to log, it would say how many people run, fastest speed, and they had like insane amount of data, but what couldn't be like, because obviously arenas like it's like GPS and whatever, like interference.
Yeah,
so
a
like
lot of metal and stuff.
Yeah, and Perth Arena, like some of them didn't have the capacity, and then like it'd get junked up, but they would have it. And some of the numbers were like crazy, and we had like you'd see like Bryce's numbers and like his quickness and explosiveness, but it was funny because they'd have like intensity like ratings.
Right.
And it's always a really skewed thing because it was like intensity could mean two things. Like you were unfit.
And you're taxing.
Right. So you're like over the limit because you're just not there or like you're just going nuts.
Yeah.
And so they actually had to try and stop like the Players Association, which I actually didn't agree with, was like when it was free throws, they could obviously check your heart rate. And so they wanted to show like people, like say I'm shooting a free throw,
like a clutch moment or something,
right? And they could be like, Greg's pooing his pants, BPM. Correct, or like this guy's like, ice in his veins is like not even beating, but they were like wanted. Then their players, so they're like, this is going to expose players or like, and I'm like, well, it is, but if you miss 2 free throws, it clearly shows you choked. Like, it's not that hard, but. Yeah, you put Bryce up there. His
he doesn't stop running, and that's why I thought maybe they do like a tie to bring him in and go. Let's try to get some Ks off of him, Ks off of Bryce. But who knows? Because they, I guess we'll find out what happens with Ty. But that was from Nick Tan. Good question.
Oh, there you go.
So, any other questions? BackChat _basketball on Instagram.
Best place to get in contact.
Yeah, hello at backchatpodcast.com to you. Or you can DM me if we're friends on Facebook or friends on Instagram. Same with you. I'm going to just send people to your page.
Please do.
However you want to get in contact with us. That's probably all we got time for today. We will be back next week.
Will we ever see Ben ever again?
Yeah, no, we will. We will see Ben. I'm going to see has he messaged me. Oh, you've been sort of keeping an eye on the Wildcats at the moment. Oh, yeah. Can you give us a little... I can. Little update.
Whilst I go, bring it up. Well, I didn't know if we were going to talk it like it's past tense, or you're like, no.
No, that's fine. Just pretend that you're listening to this live with us and you don't know the result. If you don't want to know the score, look away now.
The third quarter, 71-63 New Zealand, which is fine.
For Ty Webster.
Wildcats are Ryan Rupert just for an and one. And he's yelling. Grievously hard. Okay. So 73-63 at the end of the third quarter. Wildcats were up 10 when I turned it on, and now they're losing by 11.
21 point turnaround. There you go. All right, next week, Ben will be here. Yep. Oh, wait, next week I'm in Melbourne.
Oh, and next week, actually, I'm in Yellingup if it's Wednesday.
Yeah. So we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
We will have an episode where we'll probably be remote.
Unless you would like me drinking rosé on a broadcast.
Yeah, definitely. We need to get some wine in here. It is like we do record in the afternoons, and I'm trying not to really have beer during the week. But
what did you say? I actually saw on our briefing notes as we continue on. You said what was there about something about the show, and it's coming Wednesday night.
Oh, every Wednesday. Well, that was from last week. See, the thing is, I don't update the run sheet. I just put some things there.
That's fine.
Every Wednesday. There we go. It's not last show of the year.
And where I read new show. Okay, I was like, what? There's a new show coming?
No, it's a new episode every Wednesday. All right, you've heard enough of us. Enjoy the start of your year, everyone. We'll be back next week.
Take care.